Hi, I'm Joe Anthony, the founder of Pensive Beauty, and we're going to show you how to formulate with NanoBase. Today we'll be using NanoBase Classic, which is our nano architecture for modern serum formulation. We're going to make a 150 ml bench scale batch today, using 85% NanoBase. One of the biggest benefits about NanoBase is that it's engineered with three distinct domains, which are nanoemulsion, nanoliposomal, and nanomicellar. NanoBase Classic, which we're working with today, is engineered around 165 nanometers, and we can adjust that particle size for a brand if needed. NanoBase is also customizable, allowing brands to swap out oil or other ingredients, or it may be fused with natural botanical oil during processing for long-lasting scent profile in the end formula. Okay, we're first going to hydrate the hyaluronic acid with NanoBase itself. With NanoBase formulations, there's usually never a need to work with added water. Of course, if you have evaporation loss during processing, you may add water. All right, the hyaluronic acid is added to the beaker. I'm going to drop in the stir bar and I'm going to hydrate it with the NanoBase itself. It will be part of our gel network for this formula. And we're using a medium weight for the hyaluronic acid. And if you're working with HA, after it hydrates and you set it off to the side, if you come back later and the viscosity is too high, simply add a little more NanoBase to it to adjust the viscosity, and you'll be able to easily incorporate it back into the main beaker for your batch. And now we're going to do the same process with carbomer. If you want to add a little bit of heat to your process, that's fine. When working with NanoBase formulation, it's safe to work at 40 degrees Celsius without any issues. We always recommend working below 40 degrees Celsius for structural integrity, but there's a pretty safe bet that you could increase the temperature slightly if needed. Okay, now that I've finished with the carbomer and it's going to finish hydrating off to the side, I'm going to move on to adding some bakuchiol. And before adding the bakuchiol straight to the NanoBase, I'll actually want to maybe use something like a 1,3 propane dial, which I'm going to use to disperse it first before adding directly to the main batch. This formula calls for 0.9 grams. All right, back to the main beaker now. Let me drop in a stir bar and add some niacinamide and mix for a few moments. After that's dissolved, I'm going to head right over to adding some N-acetylglucoside and mix for another few moments. And finally, for some beautiful color with some copper peptide, let me mix that in for another few more moments. NanoBase is engineered at around 165 nanometers with three distinct coexisting domains. So each active or ingredient naturally partitions into the nanoscale domain it is most comfortable with. That purposeful organization increases bioavailability and prevents ingredient from competing for space, the way they normally do in legacy HLB systems. The result is efficient, predictable delivery without special processing or extra equipment. And that performance is exactly what we're showing you in this demonstration. Okay, we're going to head over to the overhead mixer now, and we're going to blend in our HA slurry that we hydrated earlier. Next, we move on to adding the carbomer slurry that we hydrated earlier. And for the last touch, I'm going to incorporate the bakuchiol, which we pre-dispersed in a little bit of propane diol for easier incorporation. And now we'll just let the gel network form to achieve the texture we're after.